and Jason arrived at the designated pickup location. Two men stuffed a large package into his trunk, and then they drove off to the destination. But along the way, a tire blew out, so he had to get out and change the tire. When he was about to grab the spare tire from the trunk, he noticed the package moving. Jason immediately guessed that it contained a person, but being someone who sticks to his principles, he didn't open the package. Instead, he changed the tire and continued on his way. Along the route, Jason stopped at a convenience store to buy some water. As he was leaving, he felt a pang of sympathy for the person in the trunk and bought an extra bottle. He then drove to a secluded spot, conflicted about whether to open the bag, and finally did. Inside was a beautiful woman. He took out a small knife and made a cut in the tape over Xiaomei's mouth, giving her a bit of water before putting her back in the trunk. They set off again. At this point, Xiaomei started acting up, shouting and screaming in the trunk. Jason was worried about drawing attention. If they ran into the police again, it would be even more trouble. So, he opened the trunk to check on her. Xiaomei then said she needed to use the bathroom, and after hesitating for a moment, Jason agreed. To prevent her from escaping, he tied one end of a rope around her neck and held the other end in his hand, warning her that she only had 1 minute. But as time passed, she still hadn't come back. Jason quickly went over to check and found that Xiaomei had already run away. Fortunately, Xiaomei was just a fragile girl. Beautiful girl, didn't run far. Jason quickly caught up with her. She didn't hold back and kicked him over, then just picked her up and took her back to the car. They headed straight to the delivery location, where he handed Xiaomei over to his employer, Zhang Biao. Zhang Biao was very pleased with Jason's efficiency, so he had his men bring over a big box and handed it to him. Jason happily accepted the box and left. On the way back, Jason stopped at a convenience store to grab a bite. After finishing the meal, we were ready to continue on our journey. Jason's beloved car had flown to pieces. Main box was lit. He himself was also blown away more than 10 meters by the explosion. Fortunately, it was not serious, but a lot of hair was lost. Jason immediately realized that it must be Zhang Biao who wanted to kill him to silence him. How could he justify the loss of hair if he didn't take revenge? At this time, Zhang Biao's younger brother was still playing landlord in the villa. Suddenly, he heard a knock on the door and was about to go over to check. Jason took a running start and flew up for a long time, then fell to the ground with the door. The remaining 3 brothers immediately drew their guns and shot, but Jason used the door to stop the bullet. Taking the opportunity, he yanked off a tablecloth. After dealing with all the little brothers, I went to the garage. Jason drove off stylishly in Zhang Biao's luxury car. Unexpectedly, just a little while after he left, Xiaomei popped up from the back seat. Seeing her again made Jason a bit frustrated, so he slammed on the gas, stopped the car, and yanked Xiaomei out, tossing her onto the road, before speeding away. But when he looked in the rearview mirror and saw Xiaomei looking helpless, he felt soft-hearted again. He hit the brakes hard, stopped the car, and went back to shove her into the trunk. He brought her home, and sure enough, even heroes have a hard time resisting beautiful women. If it were me, I'd definitely take her home too. How about you, sitting in front of the screen?